Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Lynn Nesbitt. I'm chairing today's panel. Joining me on the panel via Zoom are Ms. Gail Anderson and Mr. Kent Seelan. Our assessor today is Mr. Darren Ducharme, and our administrative personnel is Ms. Nicole Carnegie. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the business assessment role. No. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing item number 4 on our docket today. Ms. Carnegie, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Darren Ducharme.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Van Bruggen, please state your full name.
Thank you. Wesley Van Bruggen.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sharples, please state your full name.
Grayson Sharples.
You affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we begin, I note that for our item today, there is a preliminary issue that needs to be addressed. Is that correct, Mr. Ducharme?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. And Mr. Van Bruggen and Mr. Sharples, you're aware of this preliminary issue?
We are. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, Mr. Ducharme, then you can begin by reading in the information for item number 4, and we will deal with the preliminary issue first, please.
Thank you. The file number is 23-322. The roll number is 070-739-94100. The address is 2571 Portage Avenue. For the roll year 2024, with a reference date April 1st, 2021, we have an assessed value of $762,000. The parcel use is CMRST, the zoning C2. Land area is 5,238 square feet, and the leasable area is 6,602 square foot. Our recommendation is to seek non-compliance via failure to provide information requested in accordance with Section 16(1)(c) of the Municipal Assessment Act, and that the burden of proof be placed on the applicant. For non-cooperation, Section 53(3)(b) of the Municipal Assessment Act. I would like to submit to the panel that the subject property has a history of non-compliance. Our department, other than for 2022, has not received any income expense mailers for the subject property since 2013. That is, we have not received any income expense questionnaires from the subject property for the years 2014, 2015, 16, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, though we did receive one for 2022. And that would conclude my response or the preliminary action for my part.
Okay, before we begin, Mr. Ducharme, you have submitted as evidence information in your brief. Could you please go over that evidence, please?
Right. So starting on page 9 of my brief. On page 9, here we see a copy of the certified mailer that was sent June 11th, 2021 via express post to the subject property. And you'll note that it was signed for. On page 10, this is a copy of the Canada Post 2020 delivery confirmation. See a date of June 11th, 2021. On page 11, this is a Canada Post copy of their delivery progress report, with the key line being the top one indicating that the information was delivered June 11th at 8:47 a.m. Page 12 is a copy of the instructions for completing the questionnaire that was mailed out. Page 13 is a copy of the legislative authority that was mailed out. Page 14 is a copy of the cover letter that was requesting information that was sent out to the subject property. It has the address and the date there. Page 15 is a copy of page 1 of the COVID questionnaire sent to the subject property. Page 16, page 2 of the COVID questionnaire. Page 17 is a copy of the tenant verification form. And page 18 is a copy of the income expense questionnaire that was sent to the subject property. And that would conclude the evidence for non-compliance.
Thank you, Mr. Ducharme. Mr. Van Bruggen or Mr. Sharples, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we could turn to page 11 of the brief, please.
Okay.
So for this, for the income and expense questionnaire, was this received and delivered to the subject property, or was this received and delivered somewhere else?
It was taken to the post office.
To the post office. So it didn't actually get delivered to the subject property.
Correct. Well, it was taken there, but yeah, I guess there was no one to receive it, so they took it to the post office. I would assume.
Do we know who signed? And if we can move to page 9. Do we know who signed for the property? Do we know who signed for the document?
I do not.
I think that concludes our questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Bruggen. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seelan.
I have no questions at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Ducharme, it was delivered to 602-7661 Manitoba Inc. That's the owner of this property?
I know it's delivered to the, I know the address, 2571 Portage, it was delivered. That was the address it was delivered to. I don't know the, oh yeah, the owner. 602-7661 Manitoba Inc. So, yeah.
Okay, and I think I heard you say it was originally attempted to be delivered to the address on Portage Avenue. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's,
71?
yeah, page 11 of my brief shows the progress report. So it was taken to the subject property June 10th, and I guess there was no one there to receive it at the time, so they left the card indicating where and when to pick it up, which was the post office, and that's where it was picked up.
Okay. The number at the top, I'm just looking at page 10, item number LP 657. 130145CA. Is
Right.
that the identification number for the property? I'm looking at,
It's a tracking number for the Canada Post, has for this particular
okay,
package.
and it matches to the property owner?
Yes, it's the same tracking number throughout all the
Okay.
documents.
And 2571, is that the address on record at land titles for this property?
Yes, on land titles, yes.
So it is the service address.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Van Bruggen, Mr. Sharples, when you're ready, you may present your evidence, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So one of the challenges that we have with this property, well, there's a couple of challenges that we have. The first one is that this is actually a tenanted building. It has 2 tenants within the building. I know from experience that when you send a letter to a tenanted building, you never know which unit it's going to get to. So that's the issue, is when we don't identify and specify the unit that you want it to go to, it could go to either one. So that's the first issue. The second issue is that this clearly wasn't delivered to the subject property, but rather delivered to a post office. And then it was picked up from the post office. In conversations with the client, they had indicated that the signature that you find on page 9 is not theirs. And actually, if we cross-referenced it with the appeal form, and it's very different. So when we asked the owner who signed for it, he wasn't sure, which brings forward the issue of whether or not the owner actually knew that this form had been sent. Now, the issue of non-compliance has been examined by the courts in the past. I'd like to draw the board's attention to a particular case, 2016 MBQB 175. This is Boeing Canada Operations Limited. In this situation, it was a question of whether or not Boeing was aware that the information had been requested from them. So the income and expense form had been sent to the property owner.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt? Is this in your evidence, or are you just relating this verbally?
Just relating this verbally, Madam Chair.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
I apologize. Next time we'll provide it, but
no,
yeah. So what happened was the income and expense mailer had been sent to the REIT that had owned the Boeing facility. The REIT had chosen not to fill out the information and return it. As a result, Boeing was penalized for not providing the information. Now, Boeing was the tenant of the space. The board reviewed it and made the ultimate determination that it was the fact that one party did not respond and provide the information should not have an impact on the other party. I believe paragraph 71 of that decision outlines, and I'll just read that paragraph because the court can say it better than I can. As if that was not a satisfactory basis, I'm also persuaded by the argument advanced by Boeing that the legislature could not have intended to give a right of appeal to a party, including a tenant, while at the same time subjecting the party to a harsh penalty as a result of the conduct of another over which the party had no knowledge or control, including where the application for review of the real property assessment, assessment is successful. So ultimately, what happened was the court reviewed it, determined that it's not fair to have a right to appeal, but then take that right away from someone who isn't even aware the information is being requested. In the Boeing case, it was the owner that didn't reply. The right was taken away from Boeing, and Boeing was being penalized. In this case, it's a situation where we know the application had been submitted. We don't know who actually ultimately received it because it came from the post office. We know that it's a multi-tenanted building, so again, we're not sure where the attempt was delivered, who received that notice. So ultimately, we have no knowledge of whether or not the property owner was even aware that they had received the income and expense statement for the property. For that reason, again, it would be our position that the non-compliance not be applied, as it seems unreasonable to penalize in that situation.
Thank you, Mr. Van Bruggen. Mr. Ducharme, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I do. You had mentioned there were two tenants. Did you know that it was the same owner of both businesses?
They do own the business, but we don't know who we don't know who runs those businesses. So they might own it, but we don't know who's ultimately running them.
Well, were you aware it's owner operated?
Owner occupied? I was not.
Yeah. So it's the same owner, it's an owner occupied building and the owner, it runs two businesses out of the premise.
Fair enough.
I have no further questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Seeland, do you have any questions?
Sure, just for clarification, this letter was signed for at the post office.
Right.
That's
This is for Mr. Van Bruggen, Mr. Seeland?
Right.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I see it signed. I'm not aware. We do see it is signed. I'm assuming it was signed at the post office to be picked up.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Any questions, Madam Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Seeland. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions?
Just in regards to mail delivery to that business, has the business owner indicated if other mail is delivered to on site?
We didn't ask, to be perfectly honest. We did ask whether or not they had received this document. They didn't recall seeing it. We provided the document to them. They weren't aware that they had received it, but we didn't ask about other mail and where it went.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just have a question about this property seems to have a track record of not responding. Is this an annual event that they just don't respond to this? Or
so
like it's not a one-off, obviously.
So I can't speak to what's happened before. We do know that I can speak to 2021 to this document. In talking to the owner, they had indicated they hadn't received it, and obviously in 2022 they did respond. So I think there is so what happened 2020 and prior, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think we can see that there is, when they do receive it, there is an intent to return it. It's not like they've never returned. It's not like they've never responded to these requests.
right. So you were not aware that the owner is actually occupying this premise?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We will recess for the panel to make a deliberation in private, and we will get back to you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. We had recessed so the panel could deliberate the City of Winnipeg's request that the burden of proof be placed on the applicant for non-cooperation. The panel has agreed that burden of proof should be placed on the applicant for non-cooperation under sections 53 sub 3B of the Municipal Assessment Act. So what that means, Mr. Van Bruggen and Mr. Sharples, is that the burden of proof is placed on you to prevent your case. And so you may begin with your evidence, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Grayson will take it from here.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So on page 3.
Sorry, I'm having
hear you.
difficulties hearing you.
Okay. Has it gotten any better?
You're very quiet for some reason.
What about now?
Madam Chair, are you able to hear him?
I can hear, but it is still quiet.
Is it quieter than I was earlier?
Much better.
There you go.
Much better. Yeah,
Much better.
thank you.
Okay. Apologies for that, everyone. I'll begin on page 3 of our just a quick description. The subject property is a retail store located in the Booth neighborhood along Portage Ave. This is within the St. James Market region. The property has been assessed at an amount of $762,000, and we're requesting that this be reduced to $641,000. On page 4, we just have a snippet of the current assessment. So again, I guess this, just to note on this, this has been classified as a retail store. And on page 5, we have our requested assessment. So this has been split into 2 different areas. We have the above ground area that with the standard finish, that is the 3,036 square feet. And then we have the basement area as well. And so we're requesting that the rental rate for the 3,036 square feet of standard finish space be reduced to $13.50 per square foot. It has currently been assessed with a blended rate of $16.66. And from that, we get our requested assessment of $641,000. On page 6, we have provided the assessment map and just a satellite image of the property. And photo from Portage Ave and another photo from behind the property on page 7. On page 8, we begin our valuation. So the first thing we did in reviewing this property is we pulled similar market transactions from along Portage Ave. So the first one we found was 987 to 989 Portage. This property was built in 1952 and has an area of 5,040 square feet. Transacted in March of 2021 for $700,000, which equates to a value per square foot of $138.89. Next, we've looked at 1333 Portage. This one is a bit closer in size in terms of building area to just the above ground area, it should be noted. This is 2,924 square feet and sold in February 2020 for $440,000, which is just over $150 per square foot. And then 1821 Portage, third comparable here. Again, a little bit smaller, but sold in December of 2019 for just under $400,000. And again, this is about $169 per square foot. And then finally, we have 1843 Portage, just over 2,000 square feet, sold in May of 2018 for $240,000, which is about $117 per square foot. So from this, we see an average and median sale price per square foot of right around $143, $144 per square foot. That compared to the assessment of the standard finish area of $203 per square foot. So what we've done here actually is we've used the assessed value of $617,695 for the standard finish area. So this is not the total assessed value. This is just the capitalized value of that above ground area. We have no issues with the basement area. But from this, we see that the subject property appears to have been overvalued at just over $203 per square foot. So next on page 9, we've taken a look at the rental rate. Again, this is just for the above ground area. So it has been assessed at $16.66 per square foot. we've pulled a few comparables. The first one also being on Portage Ave at 1110 Portage. Similar in size at 3,200 square feet. This lease was signed in January of 2019 at $16.43. Next, we have 123 Marion Street. Again, just over 3,000 square feet. Lease started in May of 2020 at $13 square foot. Next, we have 778 Corridon Ave, about 3,300 square feet. Lease sold or lease signed in February of 2019 at $12.25 per square foot. And then finally, we have 1857 Portage Ave. It's about 3,600 square feet from July 2017 at $13 per square foot. So again, the average rental rate from these comparables is $13.67 per square foot. And the median value is $13 per square foot. So from this, this is how we've derived our request to adjust the rental rate to $13.50 per square foot. And from this, the new value becomes $163.76 per square foot, which aligns more closely with the sales that we had identified on page 8. I'll just jump ahead briefly before the conclusion to page 13. So here we've provided some photos of the comparables we used. So on pages 13 and 14, we have photos of the comparable sales that we used. And then on pages 15 and 16, we have photos of the comparable leases that we use to derive our requested rental rate. So just jumping back up to page 10, in conclusion, we're requesting that the rental rate for the standard finish area that is 3,036 square feet be reduced to $13.50 per square foot. And we respectfully request the board to reduce the assessed value to $641,000. And with that, I conclude the presentation and welcome any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sharples. Mr. Ducharme, do you have any questions for Mr. Sharples?
No, I'll just wait to my presentation in regards to 1857 Portage. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seelan, do you have any questions?
Yes, if we turn to page 7, is the property both Pets 101 and Crystal Water? Is that the same building?
That is, yeah. So I believe these are the two tenants in the building, the Pets 101 and the Water Center.
Okay, so I see the top picture. I see a bottom picture. Is that the back of the building, or is...
Yeah, the bottom picture is the back of the building. The picture on top is taken from Street View from Portage Ave.
Okay. Okay. What's in the basement?
I'm not sure what's in the basement, to be honest with you.
Sorry, I apologize. I can barely hear you.
I'm not sure what's in the basement.
Okay, is it finished? Is it unfinished?
Again, I don't know.
Okay, do we know what it's used for?
Again, I'm not sure.
Okay. That's all my questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seelan. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you for your presentation.
I just have a couple questions. You did use for your rental comparables properties along Corridon and Marion. There's a couple on Portage. Do you feel that Marion and Corydon are comparable in terms of location, or are they superior or inferior to a Portage location?
Yeah, I mean, we were just looking more so at the leasable area and similar build for this. So we kind of referenced the photos that we've provided on pages 15 and 16. So these are retail properties that are similar in size and appear to be similar in use.
Okay. Oh, in use? How about in age?
So we actually didn't have information on the year of construction of the subject property, but based on the photos, they do appear to be similar in terms of year of construction.
Okay. So you selected them on the basis of square footage and use, so they're all retail, smaller type of retail, basically, right? That would be fair.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And I think I heard you say to Mr. Seelan, you don't know what the basement is used for or the finish in the basement. And you said you accepted the assessor's valuation of the basement. Did you use the same square footage as the assessor?
So we used the information from the business assessment. We don't have the valuation breakdown. So we derived the value using business assessment and got to it that way. So I believe looking at the assessor's brief, it looks like there is a difference of 265 square feet.
So in fact, you did use the same rate as the assessor for the basement, but not the same square footage. So there is essentially in your valuation a reduction on that basis as well, right? It's not just the main floor area.
Yes, I mean there's an additional 265 square feet that was not included on the business assessment.
Okay.
So
yeah. Okay. So we can follow up with Mr. Ducharme on that piece. I'm just, going through your math and their math and trying to find the differences, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Ducharme, your presentation, please.
Thank you. Should I start from the beginning or continue on page 2?
Okay.
I'll start from page 2. At the top, we have an aerial photo of the subject property, 2571 Portage. You can see it's located between strip mall, 2565 Portage. And the building at 2565 fronts onto Morey Street. And so we're getting into close proximity to the perimeter. The bottom photo is a Google Street View of the subject property. Top of page 3, a Google Street photo, just as we are passing the subject property. And the bottom photo showing the back of the subject property. On page 4 are the rent comparables. All the comparables are located on the same street as the subject, Portage Avenue. All the comparables are main floor rents with a mean of $15.33 a square foot and a median of $15.75 per square foot. The comparables closest to the subject would be the last 3 at 1853, 1853A, and 1861 Portage Avenue, which is approximately 3 kilometers away. These comparables have a mean of $17.15 per square foot, with a median of $16 per square foot, which is in support of the model rent at $16.66 blended. All comparables provided are the same parcel use code as the subject, CMRST. And the last three, 1853, 1853A, 1861 Portage, are in the same building as the applicants, comparable at 1857 Portage, although they have newer leases closer to the reference date. So the applicants comparable at 1857 Portage is in the same building, but their lease start date is July of 2017. Whereas 1853 Portage is March 1st, 2020. 1853A is April 1st, 2019. And 1861 Portage is May 1st, 2019. For these reasons, we feel the model rents are fair. Page 5 is the subject property market income workout. We have a total leasable area, 6,602 square feet, giving a potential rent of 64,866 square feet. We applied a vacancy loss of 6%, expenses 3%, a shortfall at $7 per square foot, giving a net operating income of $56,372. We have a cap rate of 7.40%. with a capitalized value of $761,784, giving an estimated value of $762,000 rounded. Page 6 is the income value summary, which I just discussed. Page 7 is our capitalization rate chart. Our models apply a cap rate of 7.40 for the subject property, which is above the 80th percentile for all reports. The City of Winnipeg, Colliers, CBRE, and Cushman Wakefield, and which we believe to be fair. Page 8, the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. And then pages 9 through 18, I'd already discussed for the non-compliance. And that would conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ducharme. Mr. Sharples or Mr. Van Bruggen, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know about Mr. Van Bruggen.
Thank you, Mr. Sharples. Mr. Van Bruggen? Do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, I think I'm okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Thank you. In regards to the 265 square feet, just wondering what your record indicates that piece is utilized for. What is it?
Yeah, that one's in regards to the water tenant. It's at the back of the building. It's where right now it's where a filtering machine is for their jugs of water. So it's on the main floor of 2573 Portage, but we've given it a different like we have it as just sort of we've given it a storage value because it's just basically where they have their right now their water filtering machinery.
Okay, so can you advise why it wouldn't be included in the business assessment, just so that I can understand why it's reflected in this, but not in the.
Yeah, I think at one point, this was a area that wasn't finished to the same standard as the water filter. Like it's part of the 1320 square footage area. It's just at the back. It's at the back of the tenants at 2573 Portage. So it was just a different finish. It wasn't as finished to the same level as the main tenant of the water filter.
Okay, so there is the 1320 square footage.
Right,
And then in addition to that, the 265, it's right adjacent.
right. Right, it's
Okay.
at the back at 2573, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Pets 101 is 2571. And I think it's called Crystal Water is 2573. And so the 265 is part of 2573 at the back. It's just not finished to the same level as the front of 2573.
Okay. Thank you. My other question is in regards to influences. Like you mentioned when you were describing the property that it's getting close to the perimeter. Is that an influence to the property?
I don't know. I just kind of just stating it for the location.
Okay.
Just giving
Okay.
it a reference, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Mr. Seelan, do you have any questions?
Yes, can you tell us about the basement
It's unfinished. It's used for storage mostly.
storage? Okay. Now you say this is close to the perimeter. I don't find more close to the perimeter.
Well, approaching the perimeter, yeah. No,
Oh.
I don't know if I said it. If I said I was close, then
Okay.
I apologize, I guess. But I was just kind of trying to frame it for reference along Portage Avenue.
Okay. Is there parking for this location?
It's at the back, yeah. You can see it. Page 3, the bottom photo shows there'd be parking at the back. There's sort of a back entrance as well.
What were you charging again for the basement per square foot? I know you gave us a blended rate, but what was the actual costing per square foot?
The model's applied $3.95 per square foot for the basement. That would be this PID 26447 on page 5 of my brief.
5?
Yeah. So the basement is PID 26447, 3,301 square feet, and we've given it a $3.95 per square foot value.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your answers. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Seelan. Mr. Ducharme, I'm still not clear about this 265 being on the business or not being on the business roll. Why isn't it on the business roll?
Not sure what you mean by what it's not on the business.
Well, you mentioned Mr. Sharples indicated that he took the square footage noted on the business roll, which is a different number than what you have, because the 265 square feet is not included on the business assessment roll, but it is in the realty roll. Can you just explain that again? Because I'm missing something. Like there seems to be a difference in the square footage, unless I'm misstating that, Mr. Sharples. I'm not certain.
No, that was correct. Yeah, it's not included on the business roll.
Like there's a discrepancy, Mr. Ducharme, between the business assessment roll and the realty roll in terms of square feet. And the difference is 265 square feet, which you have in your model as substandard basement, but it's really not basement. You've indicated it's actually at the back of PID number 6597.
Right. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be included on the, I guess, our business.
Sorry, you're not sure why it would not be included?
Yeah, on the business assessment goal. Not sure why that wouldn't be, unless they don't include basements, I don't know.
So which number is correct from that we should be looking at?
Well, it should be like it should be 6,602. That's the realty role. As for the business assessment, I'm not sure why
Okay,
that wasn't captured in our website.
okay. And why do you have it classified as substandard basement when it's not basement?
It was just the level of finish is inferior to the rest of the main floor. It's unfinished.
Okay. Okay, so
Got framing.
it's mostly just in order to capture the quality or whatever?
Yeah, it's less, the quality is much poorer than the rest of the main floor for that size.
Okay. And have you inspected?
Yes, I was there last week.
And can you speak to the quality finish of the property?
Yeah, the floors are, need some updating. They're like just basically finished plywood and on the main part. The exterior, there's some maintenance that needs to be done, like just repainting. They have some of the windows could be, need updating. They're probably original windows. Basically, and then other than that, pretty typical. It's just been maintained, I would say. At best, it's just maintained.
Okay. Looking then at your rent comparables, are they similar in finish or similar in quality to the subject property? Are they newer? Are they?
I can't recall having inspected these comparables, to be honest. I can't recall having been inside them.
Okay, there seems to be a big difference between a $10 rent and a $20 rent. So that's why I'm asking. Like there's two that are similar at $15.50 and $16, but then there's quite a decrease to $10 and a big increase to $19.95. So that's why I'm asking my question.
I know I don't know if it has to do also with the lease start dates. I know that particular one, 1375 Portage Avenue, has a lease start date of 2017. I know the applicants for the one on Portage Avenue, that was the same as 1857 Portage Avenue at $13. I think it was. That also had a lease date of 2017. And whereas these other ones on Long Portage Avenue have these dates 2019, 2020 that are closer to the reference date.
Okay, so you're suggesting that the latter three are more updated leases and therefore more reflective of market?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I have no additional questions. Is there a requirement or a desire for summation, Mr. Sharples and Mr. Van Bruggen?
Yes, Madam Chair, we've actually provided a rebuttal document.
Okay. Give us a minute, then we have to get that. Ms. Carnegie, does the assessor have the rebuttal evidence?
Yes, I just provided him with a printed copy.
Okay, thank you. And everybody else has the rebuttal? Ms. Anderson, Mr. Seelan?
Is that a 7-page document?
Yes, it is, Mr. Seelan.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Sharples or Mr. Van Bruggen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this On page 3 here, just brief rebuttal to the rent comparables that have been provided. That first comparable at 266 Portage, this is the one from 2019 at $20.53 a square foot. So this property is the 99 cents pizza and shawarma. And at the bottom of the page, we've just provided a map of the location. So this is very close to downtown Winnipeg, and it is a maybe not restaurant, but fast food, we would consider it. So less comparable to the subject property, and we would expect that that's why this lease is at a higher rate. On page 4, we've taken a look at, this is the 4th and 5th comparables. So this top one is 1853 Portage Ave. This is from 2020 and was signed for $15.50 a square foot. This is the Rue de la Vie, the juice bar. So again, I think this is more kind of a restaurant type, and it has been noted that this building was built in 1977. It does appear that it may have been renovated somewhat more recently than that. But then again, the bottom of this page, 1853A Portage. So this was also 2019 and was signed at $16 a square foot. This is the Beautiful Skin and Body Clinic. So again, we think this would kind of fall more under medical dental. And on page 5, this is the last comparable from the table, 1861 Portage from May of 2019 at $19.95. And this is a chiropractic clinic. So we see that from the bottom of the page, the address there, 1861 Portage Ave. And the street view photo is of an older building at the bottom of the page. So it does appear that this building has been renovated recently. And again, this is a chiropractic clinic. We believe that it is more medical dental and less comparable to the subject property. And so that would leave from the rent comparables, just the 1375 Portage Ave. We did look at that one as well. We haven't provided any photos. It does look fairly comparable to the subject property, and it was signed for a rent of $10 per square foot. And so again, from that, requesting that the rental rate be reduced to $13.50 a square foot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharples. Mr. Ducharme, questions on the rebuttal evidence?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Seelan?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. And I don't think I do either. Other than to note, Mr. Sharples, your point is relating to the use of the property, but also the renovated appearance of the property?
Yeah, I mean, it does just seem like this, the effective year of construction may be newer. It does appear that it has been recently renovated.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Ducharme, do you have rebuttal evidence?
No, I do.
Okay. And now I'll ask again, is there any desire for summation? Mr. Ducharme?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Van Bruggen or Mr. Sharples?
Thank you. Yeah, just very briefly. So I did run the calculations for our requested value and what it would have been had we included the basement area.
Are you talking about the 265 square feet? Okay.
Yeah, so if
Okay,
the new value would come out to $643,000, which is very close to our requested assessment of $641,000. So that's about $2,000 of value that would have been added for the 265 square feet of basement area. And that's all I have in summation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you very much, Mr. Sharples. Thank you very much, Mr. Van Bruggen. Anything more you'd like to add?
Nope. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. That's everything.
Thank you then. We've heard all the items scheduled and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you
Excellent.
very much, gentlemen.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day. Enjoy your
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.